What do you do if you actually have never felt an emotion that you want to write about? How do you avoid sounding like you don't know what you're talking about? Today we're going to talk about what to do if you've never felt an emotion that you just need to write about, that your character is feeling. Welcome to the Julia Amante channel. If we're just meeting, I am Julia Amante, and today we're going to talk about what do you do, how do you write an emotion you've never felt. If you've never felt lonely, you're very lucky. But what does that feel like? What do you do if you don't know what it feels like? What if you've never felt anxious or anxiety, but your character is going through a panic attack or an anxiety attack? How do you write about that? Okay, the first thing that I'm going to suggest is don't fake it. Don't pretend that you know what you're talking about. You need to do some research and you need to talk to somebody who has felt that emotion, because they're going to be able to share with you exactly how they felt. And then you're going to be able to translate that into your story. Okay, so don't think, well, or don't watch movies. That's not a good example either. A lot of people will say, well, I've seen this in a movie, and so I'm going to just write what this character felt. And again, that's not realistic. It's better to talk to a person, and I'll tell you why you want to talk to a person, because they're going to tell you 3 important things that you need to understand in order to write authentically when you do write about that emotion. Okay, so the first thing that you're going to ask somebody when you're interviewing them about this, it's like, okay, well, I know that you've had, anxiety or panic attacks. And the anxiety, really, what is it? It's like an extreme worry, right, that somebody has. And you want to find out these 3 things. The first thing is you want to find out physically how it feels like inside of their body. So what is going on? Is their stomach churning? Is their heart, beating erratically? What is it they're having trouble breathing? So all of those things that physically they're feeling, you want to find out about that. Okay, so that's one of the first questions that you're going to ask is like, tell me what it feels like to you, to inside. Like, what does it feel like? Okay, and then you're going to take notes. Make sure to take notes, like what is it that they're saying that they're feeling. It's going to feel different to different people, but it's going to be similar enough that somebody who's reading it will be able to identify with that, saying, oh yeah, that's how it feels. That's how it feels like to me. Okay, and then the second thing that you want to ask is, how does it feel mentally? Like, what is it that is going on in your brain when you're feeling this anxiety? Okay, so let's say that it's somebody, I work with college students, and I tend to see a lot of anxious college students. So let's say that you're interviewing a college student, saying, well, how do you feel? And what's going on? What is it that's going on in your mind? And they could say, well, in my mind, I'm thinking how this is going to be the worst test ever, and I'm not going to pass, and I'm not prepared, and all the questions that are going to be asked are going to be questions that I'm not familiar with, and I'm going to forget everything, and it's repetitive, right? So the same thoughts keep going on and on and on and on and on in their head, and they don't think they don't focus on anything else, but they're completely focused on this one thing that is creating this anxiety in their body. So what's going on in their mind? Repetitive thoughts. What's going on in their mind? Inability to focus on anything else. So you write that down. Like, when they tell you that this is what happens, this is what I think about, this is what happens in my mind, in my head. Okay. The third thing you want to find out is, what do they do when you're feeling this way? What do you do? And it could be a number of things, right? So maybe they walk around a lot. Maybe they maybe they don't do anything. Maybe they freeze. Maybe they're so overwhelmed by this anxiety that they just don't do anything. They can't do anything but think. They freeze. Or maybe they smoke. Maybe they, who knows? Whatever it is, that the way that they deal with it, what does it do? Because this is going to help you in many ways. So first of all, you're going to be in the character's mind, and you're going to be able to describe those internal bodily feelings. And you're going to be able to describe mentally what that character is saying. And you're also going to be able to describe physically what the character is doing. Like, what are they doing when they're having these thoughts? And this is going to bring authenticity to the emotion and to the characters. Okay, so it's going to allow you to make it real for the reader. They're not going to have any problems actually even figuring out. Remember we talked about not naming. You don't have to name the emotion because the reader is going to see it and feel it themselves because you've described it well. So with when you don't know, that's what you're going to do, is you're going to research. You could also read about it, but it's a lot better to ask people these questions. And you could put out a post. I'm going to be writing about this emotion. I've never really felt this emotion. Is there anybody that has felt this, that wants to share what it feels like? And then have this interview and ask them these questions. And again, take notes and write it. You'll find that it really, really helps you to create an authentic character, and then that you can really feel these feelings. The reader can really feel these feelings. Also, remember that even if you have felt these feelings and you don't really remember exactly, ask yourself these questions. What did I do when I felt this? What did I do when I felt super lonely? What was going on in my mind? What was I thinking about? What was, what did my body feel like? Were my shoulders lowered? What did I look like, and what did I do? Okay, so I hope that that this helps you and makes you feel better about writing up an emotion that you haven't felt. But that is my suggestion: is ask somebody, take some notes, ask them those questions, and then write authentically about that feeling, and your scene will sparkle. It will be great. All right. So I hope this helped. If it helped, please hit the like button and join me again next week. We're going to have our last show on emotions. And we're going to talk about the setting, how important the setting is. So join me then.